new chapter, a new canto of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, canto 3rd. Canto's name is the status quo, and we try to understand in this shloka Vidura's departure and the Lord's affection for his devotees in shloka shloka number 1 to 3. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam namaskrityam naram chaiva narottamam.
Devim
Saraswatim vyasam tatah jayam udirayat. Nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Bhagavati Uttama-shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki.
Hare Krishna. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 3rd, Chapter 1st, questions by Vidura and Shlok number 1 to 3. Sri Śukadeva
Gosvāmī.
Evam etat pura prushta.
Evam etat pura prushta.
1 minute. One minute.
Maitreya Bhagavan Kila
Kshatravanam pravishtena Tyaktva swagruham ruddhimat Yatvai ayam mantra kruddhavah
Yatvayam mantra krudva
Bhagavan akhila
ishvara
Pauravendra gruham hitva pravivesha atmasat krutam Raja uvacha Putra kshattuh bhagavata Maitreya asangama Kadavasa samvada etat varnayana prabho Sri Śukadeva Evam etat pura prushtah Maitreya Bhagavan kila
Evam etat pura prushta Maitreya Bhagavan kila
Kshatravana vanam pravishtena Tekta sagruham ruddhimat
Shatatravana pravishtena Tyaktva swagruham ruddhimat
Yatvai ayam mantra kruddhavah Bhagavan akhileshwarah
Yatva ayam mantra krutva Bhagavan akhila ishvara
Pauravendra gruham hitva pravishesha atmasat krutam
Paurava Indra Gruham Hitva Pravivesha Atmasat Krutam
Putra kshattu bhagavata Maitreya asangama
Raja
Kadavasa varnayana prabho
Putra Shattu Bhagavata Maitreya Sangamah Kadavasa Samvada Etatvarnayana Prabho
Sri Śukadeva evam etat pura prushtah Maitreya Bhagavan kila Kshatravanam pravishtena Tyaktva sagruham ruddhimat Yatva ayam mantra kruddha Bhagavan akhileshwarah Pauravendra gruham hitva pravivishesh atmasat krutam Raja uvacha Putra kshattu bhagavata मैत्रेयेण आसंगमः कदा वास संवाद एतत् वर्णेन प्रभो।
श्रीशुक उवाच एवम् एतत् पुरा पृष्टा मैत्रेय भगवान् किल क्षतत्रावण प्रविष्टेन त्यक्त्वा स्वगृहवृद्धिमत् यत्वा अयं मन्त्रकृत् वा भगवान् अखिलेश्वरः पौरव इन्द्रगृहं नीत्वा प्रविवेशात्मसात्कृतम् राजा उवाच कुत्र क्षत्तुः भगवता मैत्रेय नास संगमः कदा वास संवाद एतत् वर्णयन् प्रभो।
Translation and purport by the Srila Prabhupada, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Śukadeva Gosvāmī said, after renouncing his prosperous home and entering the forest, King Vidura, the great devotee, asked this question of his grace Maitreya Ṛṣi. What else is there to say about the residential house of the Pandavas? Sri Kṛṣṇa, the Lord of everything, acted as your minister. He used to enter that house as if it were his own, and he did not take any care of Duryodhana's house. The king asked Śukadeva Gosvāmī, where and when did the meeting and discussion take place between Saint Vidura and His Grace Maitreya Muni? Kindly oblige, my Lord, and describe this to us. Purport by the Srila Prabhupada. According to the Gaudiya Achitya Vedabhet Tattva philosophy, anything which satisfies the senses of the Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna, is also Sri Krishna. For example, Sri Vrindavan Dham is non-different from the Sri Krishna. Tad Dhama Vrindavanam. Because at Vrindavan, the Lord enjoys the transcendental bliss of his internal potency. Similarly, the house of the Pandavas was also the source of transcendental bliss for the Lord. It is mentioned here that the Lord identified the house with his own self. Thus, the house of the Pandavas was as good as Vrindavan, and Vidura should not have given up that place of transcendental bliss. Therefore, the reason for his quitting the house was not exactly family misunderstanding. Rather, Vidura took the opportunity to meet Ṛṣi Maitreya and discuss transcendental knowledge. For a saintly person like Vidura, any disturbance due to worldly affairs is insignificant. Such disturbances, however, are sometimes favorable for higher realization, and therefore Vidura took advantage of a family misunderstanding in order to meet Maitreya Ṛṣi. Exactly as Shaunak Ṛṣi inquired of Sutta Goswami, and Sutta Goswami replied, so Srila Śukadeva Gosvāmī replied to King Parīkṣit inquiries. The king was very anxious to understand the meaningful discussion that took place between the two great souls. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Ena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Sri Chaitanya Manabhishtam Stapitamena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guroho Sri Yuttapada Kamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavancha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitancha Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhya Kripa Sindhubhe Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Today we are very happy because we start third canto today, chapter first, questions by Vidura, and we try to understand shlok number 1, 2, and 3. In this shloka, Sri Śukadeva Gosvāmī, Śukadeva Gosvāmī told to whom? Parīkṣit. What they speak? Vidura, the great devotee, why this prosperous home quit and entering the forest, and ask the question to the great Maitreya Ṛṣi. And in second shloka, they're describing about two questions about what else about the residential house of the Pandavas. And second, the Lord of everything is as Pandavas. And as he used to enter the house of Pandavas as his own and not Duryodhana's house. And in third shloka, Raja, which Raja? King Parīkṣit asked Śukadeva Gosvāmī when and where they both meet and which discussion they're doing between them. Please, the third they inquire, request to oblige that discussion to them that they can understand more and more about transcendental knowledge of the personality of Godhead. Prabhuji will tell us in nicely. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. So thank you very much, Mataji, and thank to all the devotees who have been just like the wish fulfilling desired trees, who are helping in this study of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam on a daily basis. And slowly, steadily, we have reached this third canto, first chapter, and the first three shlokas where we understand Vidura's departure and the Lord's affection for his devotees. So let us understand the context first. The setting of the conversation, where we see King Parīkṣit is there on the banks of the Ganges and is hearing Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam from Śukadeva Gosvāmī. We saw towards the end of the last canto that all the rishis in Naimisharanya who have been listening from Śukadeva Gosvāmī what he heard from Śukadeva Gosvāmī ji, which was being narrated to Parīkṣit Maharaj, they have asked and they wanted to know more of Vidurji. And here exactly Śukadeva Gosvāmī ji is saying the same thing. How the narrative now is shifting to Vidura, who is the saintly uncle of the Pāṇḍavas, and especially about the meeting with Maitreya Ṛṣi. Now, Vidura's departure was a significant turning point in his spiritual journey. So these verses, they're important from three aspects. First, the character of Vidura. How he is detached, how he is saintly, how he is spiritually focused. Secondly, Kṛṣṇa's affection for the Pāṇḍavas. He treated their house as his own. So indirectly, Kṛṣṇa's affection for the devotees. And thirdly, how apparent misfortune for a devotee becomes a doorway to deeper realization. So the very first shloka of this first chapter of Bhagavatam, we see that Vidura renounces his home. And that is what Śukadeva Gosvāmī says after renouncing his prosperous home and entering the forest. King Vidura, the great devotee, asked this question of Maitreya Ṛṣi. So see, so Vidurji was from a ruling family, hence King Vidura. And he has met Maitreya Ṛṣi and is asking certain things to So basically this verse highlights his renunciation. He was living in a prosperous royal household, but he gave it up voluntarily. He left due to the insult by Duryodhana? No, not out of resentment. It was only that he didn't want to be party to the ill activities of the and Śukadeva Gosvāmī states that Vidurji entered the forest, the pure intention to meet Maitreya Ṛṣi and inquire about spiritual truths. So indirectly, this shloka is giving us few takeaways that for a saintly person's worldly disturbances are insignificant. Just look, your brother's child is trying to insult you, is not listening to you repeatedly, not once, not twice, but repeatedly. He is not disturbed. He lives, but not due to resentment. So for saintly persons, worldly disturbances are insignificant. As even in Bhagavad Gita, Kṛṣṇa tells Arjuna that he has to that a sober person is equivalent, whether it is sukha or a dukha. So a devotee uses every situation as an opportunity for spiritual progress. And look at the questioning by Vidura. It starts with Kṛṣṇa, the discussion. And that also it starts with the devotees of Kṛṣṇa. And he says, what else is there to say about residential house of Pāṇḍavas? Because Kṛṣṇa, who is everyone, who is everything, he himself acted as their minister. He used to enter that house as if it were his own, and he did not take any care of Duryodhana's house. So Kṛṣṇa treated the Pāṇḍavas as his own. Krishna's special affection gets highlighted here. He acted as their minister, as their advisor, and also as an intimate friend. He freely entered the Pandavas' homes, treating it like his own personal residence. But he never cared for the Duryodhana's palace. Even when the Pandavas were banished to forest for 13 years, and Duryodhana was in the palace. But Kṛṣṇa never cared for it. He was always with Pāṇḍavas. If you all remember the episode when Duryodhana had sent the Rishi, who used to be very angry exactly at the time of food when Draupadi would have eaten, and he thought that now they won't have anything to feed and they will be cursed. But Kṛṣṇa came there, took just one small morsel of rice. All the rishis along with his thousands of disciples felt full and they had to run away. This is how Kṛṣṇa takes care of the devotees. In the purport, Prabhupada talks about the Achintya Bhedabhed philosophy. Anything that pleases Kṛṣṇa's senses is not different from Kṛṣṇa. Vrindavan Dham, it is not different from Kṛṣṇa because Kṛṣṇa enjoys them. Even today, if we see Kṛṣṇa along with Radharani and all the Sakhis of Radharani, every day they come to Nidhivan and spend the night there. Because Vrindavan is not different from Kṛṣṇa. It is a reflection of Golok Vrindavan. So Kṛṣṇa enjoys coming there. And similarly is the house of the Pāṇḍavas, which was saturated with devotion and so spiritually equal to Vrindavan. In the Shastras, we have been listening and we have been understanding from the seniors that we should have Dhamavas. But then Not everyone is pure enough to actually go to a dham. So Srila Prabhupada says that you should have altar, especially as grihasthas, and make your own house as a dham, the place of residence of Krishna. And that is why he says that Vigraha Seva is very important for grihasthas. So that the house becomes spiritually equal to Vrindavan. A question comes, which is taken up in the purport as well. If everything was so good, why Vidura should have left? In fact, people say Vidura should not have left at all. Because Pandava's home was a place of transcendental bliss, just like a spiritual abode. So still he is living. The Vidura now lives not because of family quarrel. Rather, he used the situation to seek holy association, to inquire from realized soul and deepen spiritual knowledge. That is where we understand the devotee's vision. A true devotee sees difficulties as favorable for advancement, arranged by the Lord himself. Similar is the inquiries about Vidura's meeting with Maitreya, which even King Parīkṣit has. In fact, Parīkṣit Maharaj is also eager to know where did Vidura meet Maitreya? When did that discussion take place? What did they talk about? So his eagerness shows the importance of saintly conversations, the mood of a sincere listener, and the qualification to receive spiritual knowledge. So if we take these three shlokas and understand it in depth, analytically, what we immediately first see is Vidura as a model devotee. Now, we have seen it even previously, in previous cantos, that Yamraj is a temporary incarnation of Vidura. Yamraj has incarnated temporarily as Vidura. And so, he is always guided by dharma and compassion. So his humiliation became a blessing, a divine push for spiritual elevation. Second aspect which comes out is devotional vision of reverse situations. For devotees, problems are Krishna's arrangements for purification and progress. This theme is reinforced through examples. Prahlad, even Srila Prabhupada, who faced so many difficulties, yet he succeeded. At the old age, when everyone would go to Vrindavan and retire, Prabhupada traveled, that too in a cargo ship, suffered heart attacks, but had full faith. So problems are Krishna's arrangements for purification and progress. One question which certainly always comes is why Krishna preferred the Pāṇḍavas over the Kauravas. Because Pāṇḍavas never deviated from dharma even under extreme adversity. Their home was not luxurious, but it contained purity, it contained devotion, it contained love. Therefore, Krishna accepted it as his own act. So these shlokas, they make us realize that as devotees, we should use the disturbances for higher realization. Vidura transformed insult into inspiration. It teaches don't respond with anger, because generally everyone becomes very angry. Small kids, when they're playing, if something does not happen as per their wish or expectation, they immediately react or cry. or stop the game and go away. So they become, as we say in Hindi, Rotlu or Chiduku. What to speak of the elders? So first thing is we should never respond with anger. Secondly, rise above material reactions. And thirdly, seek saintly association instead of conflict. Someone is insulting you, don't worry. Take up your headphones and listen to some good kirtan or pravachan. The conflict has to be avoided and saintly association taken. Because finally, the Lord has immense love for his devotees, and we should be able to prove to Kṛṣṇa that we are his devotee. Krishna's behavior shows his personal affection. He is controlled only by the love of his devotees, not by opulence or status. So all our efforts has to be how to become his devotee and let Kṛṣṇa recognize us that yes, we are his devotee. And for that, the power of holy association. Vidura's goal was meet Maitreya and elevate himself spiritually. So association is the turning point in spiritual advancement. Even if physically it is not possible because of household chores or maybe professional activities, your mobile, YouTube, Zoom, they have not gone anywhere. Instead of looking at reels or maybe some fancy lectures on weight loss or this or that, listen to Kṛṣṇa Katha. So in summary, while the first verse explains about Vidura quitting his princely home to seek deeper spiritual realization, knowledge, the second verse makes it clear that Kṛṣṇa treated the Pāṇḍavas as his own and ignored Duryodhana's house, showing his love for pure devotees. And third verse shows Parīkṣit Maharaj's eager inquiries about Vidura and Maitreya's meeting, setting the stage for profound spiritual discussions tomorrow onwards. So Vidura's departure was not due to anger, but a divinely arranged opportunity. Pandava's home became a spiritual abode because of their unwavering devotion. So this section, it emphasizes saintly association, transcendental vision, and the Lord's personal affection. Key takeaway for us, let us please all transform our home into Vrindavan. Secondly, Kṛṣṇa lives where there is love, humility, and service, not where there is pride and envy. Thirdly, a devotee sees Kṛṣṇa's hand behind every situation, favorable or unfavorable. Fourthly, Vidura gives the example of choosing spiritual progress over material comfort. And last, we see the eagerness to hear shown by Parīkṣit Maharaj. That is the qualification for receiving transcendental knowledge. So Vidura's journey teaches us to remain detached, prioritize spiritual inquiry, seek genuine saintly association, recognize disturbances as Kṛṣṇa's arrangement, and cultivate a heart where Lord feels at home. Just as Kṛṣṇa preferred the simple devotional home of Pāṇḍavas, he will also reside in our hearts if we cultivate the same sincere devotion. Hare Kṛṣṇa. Thank you very much.